Okay guys, so let's do a mini tutorial on how to do GTM engineering with Claude, Codex, or the terminal in general. Okay, because especially with respect to last year, 2025, everything was run into Clay. If you're new to GTM engineering, I was one of the very first GTM engineers in the world. I trained more than 120 GTM engineers thanks to my training program, and I consulted billion-dollar companies on GTM engineering, and my name is one of the most recognized when people talk about GTM engineering, getting dozens of mentions on LinkedIn per week. Okay, and I really lived the Clay phenomena back in the days, especially in 2024 when Clay invented the term GTM engineering. Of course, he invented the category and Clay was the only thing, right? But then Clay changed pricing, then there was Claude, then there was Codex, and everything changed a lot. So how can you actually run all your GTM engineering skills, features, process through the terminal? Okay, because it's a total revolution. Before we have the UI, we had Clay, basically, where you can manage everything. Yeah, you can connect the CRM. Yes, you can connect the sending providers. CRM and sending providers are always the same. The APIs are always the same, but right now we don't have the UI anymore. We have the terminal. We have basically a black box here where you can type whatever you want, but maybe you don't really know what to do. So in this video, I really want to show you what to do, and I want to show you that it's easy. Don't get lost, even if you're not technical, and you can totally make it, and you don't need Clay anymore, especially if you are a small company or an agency, okay? So first of all, let's try to understand it on a theoretical, conceptual level, okay? And think about GTM engineering divided into processes or layers, right? You have an operational layer, you have a data layer, you have a sending layer, and you have other things, okay? The operational layer, so the X-Clay, is basically Claude and Codex. These are the operators that move all the other pieces of the tech stack, okay? You need Claude or you need Codex, okay? And I think the $100 per month version is enough. But then Claude and Codex don't have the right data, so you need the right data operators that can be managed by Claude or Codex. And my favorites are Deepline, GetLeads, and Oxygen. Okay, these are the best, let's call them APIs or CLIs for the agentic world. For example, Deepline is free and it's connected to 100 different data providers, and you can use all of them pay-per-use. You can scrape maps. Deepline is already connected to SerperDev, so you can get all the maps data. GetLeads is a little bit different. For like $300 per month, you have access to unlimited B2B data. And GetLeads already have all the LinkedIn data that you need. Okay? Oxygen, again, is different again. It's like Deepline. It's connected to all the data providers, but it's credit-based like Clay. Okay? How to connect them? Easy. You go to Deepline, you go to GetLeads, you go to Oxygen, you follow the instruction, you basically copy a little snippet of code, you paste it inside of Codex, and you will have all the functionalities if you actually pay one of those plans. Okay? Pretty easy. Then sending providers, Smart Lead, HeyReach, Salesfinity. Smart Lead, in my opinion, is the best for emails. HeyReach, in my opinion, is the best for LinkedIn automation. Salesfinity, in my opinion, is the best for dialing, parallel dialing especially, okay? So for example, let's say that we want all the, I don't know, restaurants in Manhattan. What I would do is start with Codex, connect Deepline, and saying, using Deepline, can you please scrape all the restaurants in Manhattan? That's it. And we will have all of them. From there, we can just say, okay, now, can you please scrape all the phone numbers? And you will have all the phone numbers. Okay? And then in the phone number, you can say, okay, can you please send all of them inside of Salesfinity? This is the API. And everything will be done in a couple of, not even clicks, words, right? You can just say whatever you want. Of course, you need a logic, you need to understand what you're doing, and you need a basic process of doing everything, because if you say, okay, create a cold calling campaign for all the restaurants in New York, it doesn't work like that, right? It is not that smart. And the success is into the details. You have to know, you have to have the right cold email knowledge to actually understand that, okay, restaurants are on Google Maps that are easy to find through SerperDev, and then I have to validate all of them through an agent, and I know that I cannot find the contacts on LinkedIn, but I have the probably the mobile of the owner in the footer. So you need a logical thinking, you have to know what you're doing, but you already have all the pieces of the tech stack to do so, okay? Then you have GitHub and Railway. You can make a free account for both. GitHub is totally free. Railway is very cheap. I think I paid like $10 per month or something like that. GitHub, you can store your code. And Railway, you can put your code live, for example, if you need a live agent, okay? This is the basic. By the way, if you want a full tutorial, which is free, on how to create lists, how to map a theme through Claude, the new agentic stuff, check michaelsarugia.com/claude-tutorial-GTM. And in this page, you basically have a 3-hour tutorials with all my cheat sheets and all the things that you need to actually run everything very smoothly. This is more of a logical video to give you an idea on what is possible and what changed, okay? But if you want to go into the details, just copy what you see here, okay? Then, let's talk a little bit about the changing Clay and post-Clay. As I said, so before Claude there was only Clay, but the problem is Clay changed pricing. I still recommend Clay, and all my old training was based on Clay, now it's more based on the agentic stuff. But Clay is amazing because it forces you to actually do things step by step and not rush, because people now rush. They try to do and basically jump steps inside of Claude, saying things like, oh, create a cold email campaign for me for all the marketing agencies and send everything, make no errors. Yo, it doesn't work like that, right? While on Clay, you need to know where to get the data, how to enrich them, etc. To make a successful campaign, you still need this, but Clay forces you to do so, okay? Clay is still amazing, but they change pricing. Now it's too expensive if you are a small operator. It's not pretty good in the terminal first word, even if they actually created their own CLI and they published it, I think, a couple of months ago. Now you have a cost per action, especially if you send leads outside of Clay or inside of Clay, you have a cost per action, which basically makes the pricing makes no sense, basically, unless you are an enterprise company or a big company. And honestly, the UI got worse, especially when you find people, it's very bad, okay? Is Clay useless now? No, it's not. Especially if you're a big company and you want to connect the CRM, you want to create sophisticated and complex use cases, I still recommend Clay because it's enterprise ready, because you have compliance, because it's a unique environment where you can have all your flows, especially if it is something delicate connected to your own internal system, and it's more stable, okay? It's way more stable because, of course, they work in the backend with a lot of engineers to solve all the edge cases. But if you are a small agency and your main use case is outbound at scale, then yes, it's probably useless. It makes no sense, okay? And that's my point of view. And if you want to learn both, because most of the money in consulting is through big companies and you will still need Clay, and Clay give you the right fundamentis, Latin, which is the way in which you think about things, okay? Another important revolution when the term go-to-market engineering was born is basically that before it was outbound only. And the main narrative was you cannot scale through SDRs because SDRs have a diminishing return on people. But now you can hire one go-to-market engineer that can do the work of 5 SDRs, which is okay-ish. Actually, you still need SDRs, but less SDRs, and you need GTM engineer to make them more efficient, okay? This was the narrative back in 2024. And I truly believe that today is much more. Yeah, outbound is still one of the use cases, but with Claude, I think my creativity completely exploded, right? Now I use Claude and GTM engineering for outbound operation, for CRM data operation, for content marketing, for ABM operations, for SEO operations, for inbound operation, for so many different things, guys. That's the beauty of it. I think GTM engineering is basically the X and old growth marketeer, and now so many different things. If you're in growth, you have to know GTM engineering first for moving way faster. Secondly, because it's very hot and you will be in demand for companies. Okay, and let's make some examples. Outbound operations. What you can do with Claude and GTM engineering easy. For example, a BDR team is by default inefficient. You have people that spend 50% of their day trying to figure out who to contact and then cold calling, basically. While a GTM engineer can create the right lists, the right account, the right enrichment, and the right messaging, and upload them directly into the dialers so that SDRs just have to wake up and cold call. You don't have to make the list, you don't have to guess who to contact, you don't have to guess the messaging, you just have to connect. Okay? This very little improvement can basically double the efficiency of a normal SDR. That's the beauty of it. Okay, so sales operation. Then CRM data operation, as I said before. For example, CRM are broken. They're missing data. Account executive cannot find the right context. Marketers cannot create the right campaigns. For example, let's say that you're a company and you want to you have 3 different ICPs. You're selling a CRM for cybersecurity companies, retailers, and real estate companies. Most of the time, you don't have the industry inside of the CRM. So you cannot, let's say that you have a new case study for cybersecurity and you want to contact maybe with an email blast, a newsletter, or an ads campaign, all the cybersecurity companies inside of your CRM. Well, you cannot do that. You cannot do that. You have to enrich the industry first, and then you have to create a new field and then segment for industry. This very little case can be done through Claude. Okay, you can connect Claude to the CRM, you can enrich all the accounts, and then you can filter for the ones in cybersecurity. Okay, content marketing operations. This video is edited by Claude. Okay. Before I had 3,000 to 4,000 per month YouTube agency, now I edit everything through Claude. If you go to michaelsarugia.com/skills, you actually have 200 different skills that I use to make my GTM more efficient. In particular, the one skill that I'm talking about is the YouTube Video Editor V1. That is basically super easy. I can use it through Claude. And I just have to add it to upload the raw video. Like at the end of this video, I will upload the raw video and it will ask for the title, it will ask for the thumbnail, already with a link to my Canva so I can create a thumbnail immediately, and then automatically will cut all the silences, cut the intro, cut the outro, create a little teaser of 5 seconds in the first 30 seconds, make colors more bright, use the Alphonic API to actually create a better audio. Alphonic API is amazing, it's difficult to replicate, just buy it, it's $7 per month and use it through the API. And then it's already connected to my Google and YouTube account using the YouTube, I think, V3 API. I will upload it immediately inside of my YouTube Studio platform. I don't have to upload it manually. Everything is automated. I can create 2 YouTube videos per week just with Claude. And I don't even need an agent. I don't have to spend $4K per month. And even more important, it's even easier. I don't have to wait for people making the thumbnail, people making the script, people uploading the video. Everything is automated. That's the power of 2026. That's the power of go-to-market engineering. And that's the power of mastering GTM skills inside of the terminal. You can be unstoppable and you can literally get 10 times more efficient. And in particular, guys, I would even say that AI made average people more average, but made A++ player even more powerful. So if you can get to the top, if you can get the right skill, you won't get like a little better than your competitor. You will get 10 times better. That's the difference before AI and after AI. All or nothing. So my kind of suggestion is go all in, try to figure out how to get into GTM engineering, get the skill, do whatever you have, do whatever it takes to actually get those skills, show to people, show to companies what you're able to do, because it would be a one time in a life opportunity, and you can literally outperform competition just this way, okay? Hope you liked the video. By the way, if you want to get into GTM engineering and close a GTM client in 90 days or money back and get all the skills and all the abilities I'm talking about, I have a program. Go to michaelsarugi.com/program, link in the description. I can show you exactly what to do, what to learn, what not to learn, and you will get a GTM engineer ASAP. Hope you liked the video. My entire channel is dedicated to GTM engineering. If you have any questions, please reach out in the comment or through LinkedIn. Thanks so much and see you in the next one.